Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Timon of Athens, and we get to hear from Timon today in Act 2, Scene 2. So this is a scene where things start to go wrong for him, and he becomes aware of the fact that things are starting to go wrong for him. He had been out hunting, but when he got home, there were the servants of three men from whom he had borrowed money, to whom he owes money, all showed up and said, "You owe us money and you're way past your due date, like it's lapped 3 times since you were supposed to have paid us back." And Timon didn't know any of this, so he went off and he talked to his steward, who's called Steward throughout the folio, even though in other places he's called Flavius. But he goes off to talk to his steward and he's like, why didn't you tell me that this was an issue? And Flavius manages, or the steward manages to get the 3 servants of these 3 people that have come to collect their due, manages to get them to wait for just a minute while he talks to Timon. And he's like, I did try to tell you. I've been trying to tell you. I've tried to tell you in lots of different ways. I've tried to sit you down and talk you through the books. I've tried to clue you in when you're giving things away, that you're giving away too much. He's like, I've been trying, and this is bad. You're in a really, really bad situation. And Timon was like, I can't believe it. And he's like, you better believe it, and you need to do something about it, because you don't even have half of what you need to pay these guys back. So Timon says, well, mortgage my lands. And the steward says, we can't, because we already did. And Timon was like, well, ask my friends, because I know I have friends. We had this great big dinner. All of these people love me. I have friends. So he calls in 3 other servants, and he sends them to 3 people to whom he's been particularly kind and who he feels he has really good relationships with, and says, get 50 from each of them. And then he says to the steward, Flavius, go to the senators, who are also just over at my place for this big dinner, get 1,000 from them. And Flavius / the steward says, I already tried that. Like, I showed up, I used your stamp so that it would look like an official letter from you, but I already went to them and asked for money. And they said they don't have anything spare to give you at this time, so they have refused to help. And Timon says, you gods reward them. Prithee, man, look cheerily. These old fellows have their ingratitude in them hereditary. Their blood is caked. 'Tis cold, it seldom flowers. 'Tis lack of kindly warmth, they are not kind. And nature, as it grows again toward the earth, is fashioned for the journey, dull and heavy. Go to Ventidius. Prithee, be not sad, thou art true and honest. Ingeniously I speak, no blame belongs to thee. Ventidius lately buried his father, by whose death he stepped into a great estate. When he was poor, imprisoned, and in scarcity of friends, I cleared him with 5 talents. Greet him from me, bid him suppose some good necessity touches his friend, which craves to be remembered with those 5 talents. That had, give it to these fellows to whom 'tis instant due. Never think nor speak that Timon's fortunes among his friends can sink. So he's still optimistic. He is still holding out hope, and he says that the reason why the senators won't help is because they're old and nobody's nice to them anymore, and they're getting ready to die, so they just have this really down heavy energy where they don't want to help anybody. So he forgives the senators by just brushing it off and saying, they're old and mean because nobody's nice to them, so of course they're not going to help. But go to Ventidius, because if you remember in Act 1, Scene 2, he bailed Ventidius out of jail. And Ventidius was at the dinner. Actually, it was Act 1, Scene 1, he bailed him out. Act 1, Scene 2, Ventidius was at the dinner saying, let me pay you back. And Timon didn't take repayment at that time. So he's like, go there. His father just died, so he just came into some money. He's got a bunch. Just go and ask him for 5 talents. A talent being the unit of money that they use in this play. He's like, just get 5 talents from him and then give it to those ones that I owe money to. And that should that should settle things until I get the 50 talents from each of these other guys. And he's like, I still believe that my good friends, my really good friends, will help me. And the steward / Flavius has one more line before the scene ends that's along the lines of, oh, he's so optimistic. Yay. And then the scene is done. So that's Act 2, Scene 2, and I believe tomorrow we're even into Act 3. This is another one of those plays where Acts 1, 2, and 3 are really short, and then Act 4 is really long, and then there's Act 5 after that. So anyway, stick around for more. We're going to get to see if Timon's friends actually come to his aid. And what do you think? Leave a thing in the comments. Leave a comment in the comments if you think that they're going to come through and help him. And maybe while you're down there, subscribe, because I was looking at numbers today and I saw that like 73% of you that are watching this haven't subscribed to my channel. So I'm not saying that you have to, but you can. It's always an option. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.